Hi everybody! Thank you so much for being here. Today I'm going to bring you a little video that I was inspired by Emily Noel83 here, beauty broadcast on YouTube. I've probably been watching her for over 10 years. I absolutely adore her. She is just the kindest soul. She just makes you feel so fulfilled and just she's so good at what she does. She's been doing this for a long time. She knows makeup like the back of her hand. I just trust her wholeheartedly. So I wanted to bring to you a little bit of something she did. I will put her video of this below and then also just a link to her channel so you can check her out. But I wanted to bring to you some of my favorite fall palettes in my collection, or just some palettes that I kind of think of fall or make me feel like, ooh, can create some of these pretty fall kind of looks. I'm gonna first start off with kind of my cheaper drugstore end, and then we will work our way into some higher end palettes that I own. So first up is actually a palette that I just kind of did a review on. I can put a link to that video above, but it is Wet n Wild's Comfort Zone. Now, Comfort Zone has some really beautiful kind of grungy greens, which I think really can play into that fall vibe, but then also some really beautiful warmth. I, within that video, play with these 5 shades more so than any, but all this warmth here would be so pretty to create a look as well. This is a very affordable palette. I think it runs you $5 or $6. It's a great palette. Still, truly, if you haven't checked out Comfort Zone, Wet n Wild, go for it. You won't be disappointed. Now, I've also done a video on these palettes as well. These are the Profusion 10 pan palettes. Now, 2 of them that I think could probably work really well for fall. The Smoky palette here, just because Smoky is so perfect for fall, perfect for Halloween, perfect for kind of just that grungier look that we're going for. You got that in this Smoky palette. You got a little bit of warmth as well, but you have enough of kind of some deepness over here so that you could really make a truly kind of classic smoky eye if you wanted to. But then also a 10 pan palette that they have are the Rubies, and this brings in much more of kind of that warmth that I like within fall color schemes. Maybe not so much these pinks, but right here, orange, red, makes me think of the beautiful trees that are turning, kind of all of that really kind of gold deepness that I enjoy. So I think this could be really fun to play in and kind of have a bit more of those oranges and reds. These are also only $4.99. You can find them at Walmart or Profusion.com. They're fantastic. Truly, again, won't be disappointed with these. Now, next is one that I haven't played with as much as I've wanted to, but this is from Alter Ego, and this is the Goddess palette. Now, this palette has some really interesting things in here. This is a dupe of a Natasha Denona palette, I believe just her gold palette, but they have some beautiful gold kind of shades within here that have duochrome kind of qualities, and then there's a couple of blue kind of green shades within here, a matte and a shimmer. So it's really interesting to kind of play off of those within your looks, but I love that this has cooler toned kind of gold shades within here, because I think that plays really well within the fall tone as well. Just kind of more of that mustardy kind of color. I love that. I think that's so pretty and really kind of pairs well with the entire theme of fall, really, or kind of the color scheme of fall. This palette is also quite affordable. I think it can run you $15, maybe 20, but really very high quality. I go back and forth on dupe kind of palettes, but really, if you can't afford the expensive Natasha Denona, this is a great alternative. Now, my favorite shadows, as are many. We got some Juvia's Place palettes here. Juvia's Place are such beautifully pigmented shadows, and their palettes are just so stunning, and they are so affordable. It makes you just kind of wonder, like, why can't all brands do this? But here is the first one. This is just their classic Nubian. They've had this for years, but this palette gives you that classic brown, gold warmth along with some coolerness, but you really can make a myriad of different kind of brown shade eye looks, and that's very, very fall to me. Brown, gold, all of that sort of stuff, and you really can get that within this Nubian. Now, what I am wearing today on my eyes is a Juvia's Place, but I'm wearing the Warrior, which goes much more kind of glitzy gold in my opinion compared to the Nubian. Both are great, but the Nubian doesn't have as many shimmers that are so pigmented and packing. These shimmers are just like, wow, they're stunning. These are also stunning, and this palette isn't as new, so perhaps, you know, with time. But to me, the shimmers are a little bit different between the two palettes, but they're both stunning. This one just, they aren't as loud as shimmers. Perhaps kind of the two on the edge here are a bit more loud, but all the ones within this palette, very, very loud. So I'm going to show you a little demo of my look today using this palette. Just some really beautiful shades within here, and I think really can help scream that fall look for you. First, gonna prime up my eyes with some Milani eyeshadow primer. So first, for this little demo today, we're gonna go into Ahosi. Yeah, I'm gonna butcher the name, but as per usual, I will put a little picture of the palette so you can follow along if you'd like. So we're gonna take this lightest matte shade and just place her right on that brow bone and in that transition area. This is pretty close to my skin tone, so you probably won't see much, but this should help us with our blending in a bit. Now, what's so lovely about this palette is that it has kind of three main matte shades, a light and a medium and a deep shade, all kind of within that easy to use brown color scheme. And then there are these beautiful shimmers, and you can really just pop whatever you want in the lid. So it's really easy to kind of create a lot of looks with this, but really minimal effort. So now we're gonna go into Cano, and this is our medium brown matte shade, and I'm going to place this kind of into my transition area and slightly into my crease. Really beautiful, kind of almost caramely color once it's blended out. I really love it. It's perfect for fall. But next, I think I'm going to, just to blend out the edge the best I can, go back into that lightest matte shade, go right on that edge so that we really have just a real ease of transition area. All right, now I'm gonna go in with a bit more of a defined kind of crease brush, and I'm gonna go into Mino. Now this is such a deep, deep, deep brown that it's almost black, so you want to go so light. Even similarly with Cano, Juvia's Place don't mess around with pigment. Like, they are very pigmented shades, and you want to just use the lightest little tap and touch, because you can always pack on more, but it's a lot harder to try to kind of diffuse everything and diminish everything if you're going for something that isn't heavy right off the bat. So here we go, and I'm just going to tap that right into my crease, and you can see how deep and dark it is. Now with that, I'm gonna go back into the other crease brush, go into Cano, and use that as my shade to blend this deeper shade into the crease. Go back into Cano and kind of build back up that transition area outside. Then next is kind of up to you, like how deep do you want to go in that outer area? It also might depend on what shimmers you want to end up using. We have just some really stunningly beautiful shades here. I mean, gorgeous, just gorgeous. Then I'm going to go into Benin, and I'll put that kind of in this outer corner area of my lid, and then go right about halfway with the shade. All right, now we have a little bit of space in the innermost portion. I think I want to go into one of these lighter shades. It's just, oops, I have so much the sparkle on. They are the most beautiful shimmers. That's all I'm trying to say. They're pigmented, they're buttery, they're creamy, they're just beautiful. So this one is really a lot brighter, and then this one's a bit darker. Amina, I think, is what we're going to go into next, because it's just not as so bright. But I mean, wow. She's still really, really bright. Really, wow. 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 Now, I think I want to add a little bit more depth back in. So I'm going to go into Minnow, right on that outer edge. Add a bit more of that deep kind of color. And then blend it out. Nothing else on kind of my blender sponge or blender brush. I'm gonna pop on the rest of my face, and I will bring you back in for that lower lash. All right, everyone, let's finish up that lower lash line. Now, I don't think it needs much. I just want to kind of go in and smudge in a little bit of the deepest shade, Minnow. Just a little right here in the innermost portion, maybe to about halfway. Then I want to take a little crease brush, go into kind of back and forth between Cano and Ahusi, blend out that bottom. Really easy kind of smokiness. Then I think to finish it off, we're gonna go into the lightest Morimi and put that right in the inner corner. Easy. Now, if you really want to kick it up, you could add liner, but I do think this is pretty smoky already the way it is and kind of deeper and more sultry. But if you kind of could add a little bit more of Minnow right within, all right, I'm just gonna do it. Add a little bit of Minnow right in this outermost portion, and it will give your lashes the look of being a bit thicker. And if you keep it more towards the outer portion, it will look a little bit more thicker than over here. Now, just need some mascara and a little bit of some kind of lip, and we'll be good. All right, and here's the look with mascara on. I definitely enjoy just kind of the slight grunginess to everything. I always am a fan of a smoky eye. I do a smoky eye pretty much all the time. I just love how it looks. I think it's beautiful. I think it's really easy. I mean, honestly, these are very, very simple steps. Hopefully you were able to follow along. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little, tutorial. And now back to the rest of the video. All right, and then lastly, the Nubian 2 is what I picked up because we have some really interesting shades within here. We have kind of a deeper green, a deeper gold, an orange matte, kind of this almost dirty baby food poop brown kind of shade, but really to me this very much is kind of like a fall color scheme. Things are getting deeper, things are getting more intense, a little bit less bright. I think this could really make a stunning eye look. It might be a little difficult to create an eye look with just this palette though. I haven't done it even myself. I've only dipped into this to get some of the beautiful shades within here, but I truly think you could create something really pretty just using this. So I might do that as a little challenge at some point, but I think some of these shades just might be really fun to pick and grab for fall or even some beautiful Halloween looks. Now, kind of moving a little bit more into some higher end choices here. First, we're going to go with the Naked Reloaded palette. Now, I was not as much of a fan of this as I was the original Naked. This is a much more kind of warm tones color scheme, but you have some kind of warmth within here that really does to me kind of scream fall. You have some coolness as well, and then kind of more of these pinky shades, which aren't really what I think of as the fall, but some of this I think you could really make into a pretty fall look or would work really well within this time. I don't gravitate towards this a lot, honestly. Couple of times I've used it, maybe 5 to 6. It's pretty, it works well. It's not my favorite kind of Urban Decay Naked palette, but I do like it. I appreciate it kind of for what it is, but if you have it, it might be worth it to kind of bring it back out for fall time. Now next up is from Mellow Cosmetics out of Australia, and this is their Sinopia palette, and it has some really pretty kind of pinkies, and I did a video using more so kind of these pink shades, but if you go more into these rust shades within here, I think you could really create a beautiful rusty look for fall, especially with these kind of brick, this nudie color, using kind of all that right there, would be so pretty. I'm not exactly sure if I would even create a shimmer look because most of these shimmers are a little bit more on kind of the pinky end, although this cinnamon color would be really pretty on the lid. Just very beautiful shade there. But yeah, this one might be a fun one for me to kind of play with a little bit more. I love that rustiness within this time as well. Next up, my Melt Cosmetics palette. Smoke Sessions. This palette just has such beautiful shades within here, these deeper kind of grungy greens, and then we have these really grungy kind of gold colors, these just really dirty golds, but I think they're so pretty and they are so perfect. I can pop in a picture of a look that I did creating. I actually used this along with the Goddess palette. I wanted to use this kind of mustardy Athena color. But using this for some of the shimmer shades and this beautiful kind of sour diesel color to really kind of anchor the look with some greeny shades and greeniness along with Space Queen. Oh, the look just turned out stunning and I loved it. And I really love kind of that mustard green gold ness. It's just beautiful and definitely makes me feel like I am in fall. Now, last kind of my more so higher end things. What's interesting to me is that I actually haven't gravitated towards this palette in a while, but it is a stunning palette and it is very well loved. You can see by how kind of marked up this is. But this is my Natasha Denona Sunset palette. Really, the oranges, the golds, the browns, everything within here is literally the colors you see on the trees during fall. When things are changing, that is what this palette is. These shimmers were probably some of my favorite really pigmented shimmers from Natasha Denona that I owned. But then these mattes at the bottom as well were just so beautiful, so easy to blend, so nice to use. And this yellow too, a beautiful pop of yellow and a nice kind of fall look. Beautiful, just perfect. I mean, this kind of just has everything to create a really nice, you know, sunset kind of eye. I really think this screams a very, very fall autumnal color story. So I hope that maybe you have one of these palettes. If not, maybe feel free to go get one. I believe all of these are still available. That's why I picked them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and hopefully you're able to create yourself some really fun kind of fall look here because it's fall. Get into it. Enjoy some coziness. Wrap up with a good book and some hot chocolate or whatever you want to do. And enjoy this season that's already here. All right, everybody. Thank you again for being here. And wherever you are and whatever you may be doing, I hope you are able to do something you love every single day. Bye, guys.